My name is Scott Gigex. I'm the Antimicrobial Resistance Division Head. So I'm the private investigator of a laboratory within this company. What I do is keep track of the projects that are going on in my laboratory, meet with the people that are actually at the bench doing the work, talking about the science, the experimental design, the results, and the next steps to take. So I'm very involved in the details. So I'm constantly talking to my team and always planning on the next step, what the results mean, coming up with different hypotheses. And so it's definitely a lot of communication involved in my position, and we just really get excited about the science. So in high school, I've always been interested in a lot of different subjects, and the two that I found most interesting were science and history. So I came from a small high school, and I thought a small college would suit me the best. So I went to Gettysburg College. There I found an opportunity to be potentially a part of a good science program as well as a good history program. So I tried classes in some of both. And while I was there, I qualified for a work-study program, which you work, you get paid, and helps you pay for some of the tuition. And so I had some options as far as what campus jobs I could take. There was a job in the library stacking books, or I could work in a laboratory with a new professor that moved in from UMDNJ. So I went to him, figuring that might be, more suited for me. So I was thinking that, I was going to wash dishes and straighten up the lab, but he informed me that I will be doing experiments. So it was at that point that, I found science interesting, but I never thought that maybe I was the person that would be a scientist and would have, the intelligence, or, I always thought of scientists as being like, super smart all the time. And so it was only when I got down to the bench and started doing the experiments that I really got excited. And I realized that I could do this, and hopefully that people will also have the opportunity to do experiments and realize that, it's not that hard, and it's just a different field with a different language, and it's just if you're curious, it's suited for you. So after I graduated from college, I still wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So I decided to take a position in a laboratory as a laboratory technician at a university. And I took some classes to see if this is something that I liked, and I just fell in love with the work that I was doing. I really loved the classes. And then I joined my graduate program a year after that. And ever since, it's been constant learning, constant experimentation, and coming up with new theories, new hypotheses, and trying to answer the questions that I find interesting. So, and then from graduate school, I went on to do a postdoctoral research at Yale University. There is more of a infectious disease type of environment. And then from there, I came here for a position. I would say up to a point. I was someone who wasn't very sure of exactly what I wanted to do, and so I kind of kept an open mind and tried some things. Didn't really jump right into it if I didn't think I was exactly ready, but it was the fact that I was willing to get a job in a lab and do experiments, or try on a university setting, for a year in a few classes to see if this is something that I liked. And once I realized what I liked, I just went for it. Well, at first I wanted to get the exact recipe, and so I wanted to follow the directions from A to Z very carefully so I wouldn't mess up, so I would impress my professor. And then along the way, I followed it A to Z, and it didn't work. And so I was like, oh, what did I do? And so I went to my professor, and I said, it didn't work. I don't know what I did, because that's science. You follow the recipe, you do the experiment. It's not always going to work. Now let's try to figure out what we can do to modify it to get it to work. And then I'm like, oh, so it's not an exact science. So I went through and learned about what I was doing, and then came up with my own ways to modify the procedure, the experiment. And then it was up to me to get it to work, and it worked. Even though at that time it was a simple experiment, but it was that moment that I thought, well, here's something that I can do, and that it was up to me to figure it out, and I did it. I felt like this is definitely something that I'm interested in. I could ask my own questions and come up with something new, and something that no one has ever seen before. And if I had a part in trying to come up with new information, I mean, that's very exciting. For the job that I have now, I would say the key skills are communication. So both oral communication as well as written, because I'm constantly doing both. Whether it is communicating with your team to make sure that we're all on the same page, and that we're communicating our ideas behind the different projects that we're involved in, as well as writing down our results to get the information published in scientific journals, as well, or different speaking engagements that I might have to present my results or my experiments to the scientific community. So oral and written communication are very important. When I was in graduate school, it was very much me versus the science, where it was, I was talking with my PI or my lab mates, and then it was me doing the experiments. But then as I developed in this career path, I realized how much teamwork means to being a successful scientist and having a successful laboratory. Is that it's not to be successful at this, it's not just you coming up with the ideas all the time. It's getting together with people, talking about the common problem or the scientific ideas or what we would like to discover, and then coming up with interesting experiments, being creative, and then being on the same page and make sure that we're all doing our part to answer these questions. I've always been curious about a lot of different things, whether it be history, which originally I thought I was going to be a historian, as far as what had happened in the past and how does past events shape what's happening today, or with science, like how exactly do these different things happen. So in my laboratory, we study how bacterial pathogens develop resistance toward